Yes, we are back. We are back. Welcome to Let's Chat. Thank you guys for rocking with us this evening. We have our next fabulous guest in the chat room. We appreciate him because anytime I call, he's like, sure, I can make it happen. Y'all have seen him on New Edition. Y'all have, Grammys, awards, comedian, actor, activist now, because y'all know he get on his live and he be giving y'all some, he be talking that talk, he be giving us that Black Lives Matter speech.
Oh yes. It's good to see him again.
Absolutely. The fabulous.
Hey, Melvin.
Hey, ladies, how you doing? I love your background. Okay, all right. Got the man on the back. All right.
Thank you. So you gotta let us know what you've been doing cooking in your creative kitchen, because I know you be over there, you be DJing now. I'm like, listen, I don't know if I'm gonna watch Melvin and D Nice today. What's going on?
Right.
Quarantine got you doing some things.
Yeah, I definitely, was motivated during the quarantine. People were in their, the somber modes. I wanted to kind of uplift people, and then of course we get hit with once again another lost soldier out there, George Floyd. So that took me to a whole nother avenue of, like, I never said that I'm an activist, but I said I'm activated, to do more, to be more involved, because enough is enough. And I can't go back to my normal daily life and enjoy life knowing that someone's not here anymore because of someone feeling that they're more inferior to them than the other person. So I haven't really been in a creative mindset. I just kind of am trying to find my way through it, just because it's just so much that we're dealing with. But just really more focusing on how can I do my part to make sure that my voice, my platform is utilized for the most beneficial to our cause.
Wow, I like that you said, Melvin, that you're not an activist, but you've been, felt the need to be activated. I love that. Do you feel that your activation is making a difference?
Absolutely, because I try not to be militant, but I feel like sometimes it's very hard to be passionate about you and your people and what's been done to you, and even going back to the history, understanding that we were never chosen to be equal. So people say, well, all lives matter. Well, it doesn't matter, because the people that we would have been, our ancestors wouldn't have been in slavery. So it's all these things we can go off of. You saying all lives matters. It's like, if all lives matters, we wouldn't have to continue to march now after Martin Luther King and Malcolm X marched for us. We still shouldn't be talking about the same thing if all lives matter. So when people try to use that, it's just really a cop out to water down or throw salt on on our wounds and what we're going through when we're saying Black Lives Matter. We have to, we know how to be Black. Ain't nobody other than Black people know how to be Black. So we say we're hurting. You can't tell us that your hurt is the same as our hurt, because it's not the same. So that's, for me, it's just like, how can I be a difference? How can I continue to utilize my platform without going over the top, but us understanding, like, I got to make a point. It's at this point, it's not about being an entertainer. It's not about shucking a job and entertaining anybody. It's about getting justice for people who are not able to get justice for themselves.
I love it. Now, you have been in so many great bodies of work. You've been on Everybody Hates Chris, The Wire, The New Edition. I want to go back, all the way back, because, we always talk about a goal moment. And the goal moment is when thought and execution come together. Most of the time, we're really mindful about how we speak to other people and how we speak into other people, and less mindful about how we speak into and about ourselves. Absolutely. So 9 times out of 10, you've talked yourself out of whatever was in your mind to do something. You've talked yourself out about 4 or 5 years before you actually did it. So tell us what your goal moment was like when you said, okay, I'm about to make this happen, and this is what I'm about to do.
When I got into the music business, not knowing too much about it, managing artists, not knowing how to manage an artist, but saying, you know what, I'm going to learn, I'm going to go through trials and error. And I had people that believed in me enough to be like, you know what, I'm going to allow this 18-year-old to have my career in his hand, and they're older than me. So for me, my goal moment was simply saying, okay, if someone's giving me the opportunity to to have control of their career and their life or whatever it may be, I got to make sure that I do the best job that I can do. So even if I don't know, I got to learn and not make sure that I make those mistakes with them, but make sure if I make a mistake, they don't know about the mistake that I made and correct it in a way that's beneficial to them. And so my hard work was always been the forefront of how I get to the next level. And people see that. And I've just, the people that have come to me and just giving me that respect, because being young in the business, people are like, oh, what do they know? And I had teachers that went in college that had been in the business for 20, 30 years. And he was just telling me about the business, but also kind of deterring me away from getting into it because it was such a cutthroat business. But when he saw my determination and how far I was going, he was like, oh my God, like this kid really has it. And we're still staying in touch to this day. He's like a, mentor to me. I still talk to him. I still keep in touch with people who had a huge impact in my life, teachers from even high school. I feel like it's very important to have those people constantly a part of your life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then, so you go from music and you've made all these great connections, and you've mixed and mingled with so many different talents, but then you decided to go into acting. Yeah. What was that pivot in your life like?
It was interesting because it was something that I didn't think that I would be doing. It wasn't nothing like, I woke up, I want to be an actor. It just kind of happened. And of course, watching movies like Eddie Murphy, Denzel Washington, Samuel Jackson, those people, definitely Eddie Murphy inspired me to want to become an actor and become a comedic actor. But it was just like I auditioned for a PSA with the agency I was with, the modeling agency I was with at the time. Never had any acting experience at all. And I booked the role. And so from that point on, I was like, oh, this acting thing I can take pretty serious. I get paid for it. It's pretty cool. And I just really started taking it serious. And I started to perfect my craft and watch movies in a different way, not watch them for entertainment, but watch them as a learning tool, how to get better. And it was actually, a record executive who kind of told me in so many words, like, what are you doing? I mean, what do you mean? I'm up there trying to promote my artist. Like, no, what are you doing? Like, if you were recording, if you did such and such, we would possibly look at you. So I was just like, the energy that I'm using to push somebody else, I can also use the energy to push myself. Mm-hmm. And I did that, and it paid off, because it's like, you can only push somebody but so far, but you can push yourself to the limit. You be like, all right, I'm done being too hard on myself, but you know how far you can go. And even then you still continue to push.
Mm-hmm. Knowing your limitations.
And you've done so much. So now you've gotten your Grammy nominations. You've gotten your
Emmy nomination. I love you. You know some I don't know.
Listen. That's me speaking that thing out there for you.
There you go. Listen, I am trying to do it out myself.
Listen, that's me speaking that thing out there, because you are destined for greatness.
Yes.
So with all the things that you have accomplished, then you sat down and you decided to pivot again, and you wrote a children's book.
Yes, actually, I have it right here, matter of fact. It's called The Adventures of Jimmy the Fly. That me and my wife wrote. And the idea came about, I want to say 2001. It came about as a cartoon. I wanted to do it as a cartoon. And so I got with a friend whose brother was he did, graphic art and stuff like that. So I had him draw my vision of what I wanted to do. And, I had him for so many years, just wanted to do a cartoon, not knowing how to get started with it. And then when I got with my wife, I showed it to her and she loved it. She was like, oh my God, so we talked about it. Then one day she woke up and I don't know if she had a dream or whatever. She's like, we should do it as a book first. So that way we can build a following, get kids to see their response to it. Mm-hmm. That was an easier way than trying to get it done as a cartoon. So we did that, and the kids love it. We read at different elementaries, and we're working on volume 2 currently, and just, it's been a blessing. I never thought I'd be an author of a children's book, but it's a great feeling, when you have something that you can show your kids and you can take to other people's kids and they really love it, and then you can do different voices with it. So that's always the great thing about it.
Mm-hmm. And how different? I'm sorry, Lissha. How different is it being an author as opposed to being an actor? What are the give and take of the two?
The give and take is one, with the author, you have ownership. That's the thing. Mm-hmm. That's always what I talk about, having ownership. I mean, we, as an actor, you're just an actor for hire, which you don't have ownership of your performance. You don't have ownership of the finished product. Like they can edit it any way they want, and even if you're not okay with it, it doesn't matter. It's their call. Whereas the book, we get to see it from the beginning to the end, and we make the decision. We call the shots. We say yes, no, and when the final version of it is what we say yes to, and so that's the difference.
Absolutely. And I want to commend you because you and your wife did that pivot together.
Yes.
Both of you guys are in the industry. She's an actress, you're an actor. What was that process like? Because, everybody knows being in a marriage is different when you're bringing two visions together. Now, it's not just two souls at that level. It's two visions. She has a vision for herself. She has aspirations and ambitions. You have those same things for yourself. How is that bringing that together and coming together and sitting down and making the time to write this book and pivot together into that next level?
It's a beautiful thing. Sometimes, it could be very competitive in marriages when you're in the same industry. And, what I understand is that I know my strength and I know my weaknesses. And my wife is a stronger actor than I am. She's an actor. Like I'm an actor that tripped and fell in it and kind of worked my way, hustled my way in it. But I'm more of a producer, and that's what I do. I know how to put stuff together. I know how to get stuff done. And when you know your balance and you know how to do things, like I know where my strong suit is, and she knows where her strong suit is. So we come together and we become a united force. And I think the thing is that when we kind of continue to communicate on what we want, and you're sharing the vision, like something that came from my vision now became our vision together and becoming a children's book, to where it's just not something that I say is mine. I say that it's ours. And that's a beautiful thing where there's no competition. We understand that if I win, she wins, and vice versa. That's why not win together.
Absolutely. Now you talk about competition in marriage. What are some of the things that you guys have learned to do and to combat that competition and make that competition healthy for your marriage?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. There cannot be competition when you're married, because you're competing against the same force. It's like you're supposed to be one when you become married. So you can't compete against each other, because you're not going to win. Because the whole point is for you guys to force together and not necessarily compete with everybody else, but it's you against the world type of thing. So the goal is to simply understand that there's no I in team. There is us, and we have to always be a united front no matter what. When we step outside that door, whatever's going on, we got to continue to be a united front moving forward when we walk out at that door, and let nothing come between us or nothing stagnate us or get in. Because what happened is, what you'll know is sometimes what I had to learn is that I'm always on. Like when I go out to the events, I'm networking. I'm Melvin Jackson Jr., the brand, the entertainer. Like that's just me. But that's not my wife. When she goes out, she'll talk to people, but she's more of an introvert. And red carpet is not really her thing to do, but she'll do it when she has to. And when she's in it, she does it well. So it was a time when it was her time to shine. It was her show she was on. So she was like, when tonight, I need my husband to be there. I need Melvin, my husband, not Melvin, the actor, not Melvin, the producer, all these things. And that was hard for me in the beginning, because I'm always on. So this is something that I always do. But when my wife asked of something of me, and me to be there to support her in that moment, it was about her. It helped me mature. And so now that it's not as hard anymore, when it's her time to shine, I'm there taking the pictures. I'm there holding her purse, whatever she needs me to do. I'm her assistant. And in so many words, like I'm assisting her to make sure that she has the best experiences possible, because it's her night. It's not about me. If somebody asks what I'm doing or what I do, we'll talk, but I'm not there to enhance my career. I'm there to promote her. If she needs me to be behind her, that's what I'm doing. And I think that's the part of growing. That was very hard in the beginning, because it was always me. And so now that it's not just about me, it's like, okay, we have to share this space together.
That's that united front, Melvin. Sometimes you may you're not necessarily in the front, because as you are being your wife, like me, when my husband's being him, I got his back. I'm looking at everything around, making sure his front is on point, and vice versa. So you have to present the united front, but not just the front. There has to be a united all around, literally.
Absolutely.
So how have you grown through all of the things that you've encountered in your journey, all the peaks, all the valleys, as a man, how have you grown?
My faith has got so much stronger because, I always talk about this before. I said, people are very ashamed to be in this business and still work a 9 to 5. And that was, for me, that was where I'm just like, you guys don't pay my bills. So if I'm struggling artist, so to say, and I'm not able to pay my bills, who's going to be there for me?
That's right.
So I have to be wise, and I have to make sure I got kids to take care of. So I have to make sure that I'm being a man and showing them that you can still live your dream, but you also have to have responsibility and making sure that you have a steady income coming in. So for me, was when I had my downfall, when I, had left my job at one time and try to do the entertainment full time and not working out. I understood that I didn't trust God enough to listen and ask, hey God, is this this opportunity that I'm being presented with? Is this legit? Even though I saw things that just wasn't quite right with it, being eager and anxious to get it, because it wasn't just about me. It was like, okay, I'm gonna help other people. I'm gonna be a producer on the show. I'm gonna be able to do X, Y, and Z. And I saw all the benefits of what it could be, but I I paid attention to the roadblocks or things that may been like little funny. But I decided to shift my vision away from that, even though I know I was like that didn't look right. There's certain things that are not adding up. But what I say is that situation, that moment, taught me and gave me the ability to be the producer that I am. Because had I not gone through that, I don't know if I would have took the chance and be like, you know what, I'm gonna do my own sitcom and do my own sitcom pilot, and I did that. But that's because I had to go through that situation, not being thrown in the fire. And having everything thrown at me, dealing with agents, dealing with talent, and running a whole set allowed me to understand I could be a showrunner. I could do all these things that people are already doing because I've been thrown into this fire, but I didn't burn up. I survived it.
That's right.
It was hard going through it, but I survived it, and it made me stronger. And so for me, it's always every loss that you go through teaches you how to get back up and get stronger, because sometimes people are always looking for the wins right off the gate, and it doesn't happen. The loss what makes you better and prepared for when you get the wins.
Absolutely.
Melvin, with that being said, you have so many hats that you wear. You have husband, father, author, actor, producer, comedian. How do you find balance, or how are you able to balance it and remain sane?
That's very interesting you say that, because that was always a thing in the beginning where I did all these things and people look at this person like, man, they always say jack of all trades, master of none. But I didn't want that to be my label. And people were like, well, what do you do? You're an actor, you're a writer. They put you in this box where they say you only can do one thing. You only can focus on one thing at a time. And that was just never my thing. Like my father will always be like, son, you're doing everything. You're doing all these things. But it's like, I feel like I always have to do multiple things to figure out what I'm best at. And sometimes you may be best at 3 things. You may be best at 2 things or just one. And so for me, what I had to realize, I had to say that I'm a brand. So I said the brand of Melvin Jackson Jr. Because when you think of yourself as a brand, you're a brand that offers different services. So if you need me as an actor, you need me as a host, a writer, producer, I'm able to facilitate all those different services. And so people stop putting me in that box of saying, you know what, that makes sense. And that had them stop judging, in the sense of saying, oh, he's doing too many things. Yeah. Like, yeah, I can do these things. But I understand I only can do sometimes one thing at one time.
Right.
But you just have to know, your limitation, and have to know how much you can, how far you can go and still give your best without going overboard.
And it's so funny because our birthday is 2 days apart. My birthday is the 2nd, his birthday is the 4th. And we were just talking about how I be doing too much. I will have like 50 things going at one time. And it's like multitasking. It's like, I'm doing this. Okay, now I'm over here. But I have to.
That's how I was today. Matter of fact, I'm up there being my wife's campaign manager. She's on the Emmy ballot for Emmy consideration. So I'm up here sending out flyers and doing this and doing, I'm just.
That's right.
I'm motivated to be bigger.
Right. You got to shout her out, Melvin.
Yes.
You got to put it out there.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Listen, what we got to go watch? What movie we got to watch to make sure
she's on a show called Manhunt, which is on Spectrum. If you have Spectrum, it's Spectrum original. The Manhunt Daily Game. She's playing agent Stacey Knox. She's also in Netflix Uncorked. It's a really good movie. All Day and the Night with Jeffrey Wright, also on Netflix.
Gotta get
amazing movie.
us her name so we could put her out there.
Yeah, Kelly Jenrette, she's killing it. She's amazing.
So y'all listen, we need her to win. So everybody go watch her movies and make sure that people are like, oh, people are really we love her.
Absolutely. So you can go on my page. I got it posted on my page already. You can go share it. For your Emmy consideration, outstanding outstanding supporting actress in a limited series or movie.
Okay. Congratulations, Kelly. Now, we deal with a lot of authors.
Yeah.
And so I want you to drop some jewels because it's a lot of authors that are taking their books and they want to put them into the big screen.
Got it.
And so a lot of them go the independent route, and some of them are blessed to be in position to where it's provided for them, where they want their content. I want you to drop 5 jewels on an author or anybody that wants to go into the industry. They want to have their vision and their script, their playwright to go on the big screen and take it to the next level. What are some jewels you can drop on them in that process?
Well, definitely for people who have scripts, man, that's the amazing part of it. When you have something written, a lot of people have ideas, they don't have them written out yet. So if you're a filmmaker or a writer and you're looking for your film to get made, I always say, why not do it yourself? If you can get together friends who believe in you, invest in you, and shoot something. Even if you're not shooting the whole thing, maybe shoot a teaser of it. So then you're at least going into the door with something tangible in your hand, because the script is great. But when you have a script and a teaser with it, or scissor reel or whatever you want to call it, it gives you a leg up. And so for me, I always tell people, be prepared. If you're trying to be an actor, don't come to somebody and say, I'm trying to be an actor. You should already have the tools to know what it takes to be an actor. There's stuff on internet. You can just Google how to be an actor. It'll tell you headshot, resume, go to getting acting classes. There's all these things at your disposal that you don't have to sit and ask somebody. You can say, hey, how did you get started? Maybe if you want to pick their brain, or get something that's most people are not asking them. You have to ask questions that most people are not asking them. If you're trying to be an author, look Google how to be an author. Like you have Amazon, they have platforms where you can be self-published. Being self-published is very hard. That means you have to do the legwork. You have to promote yourself, like Master P did with No Limit. You have to sell the out the back of your trunk. You have to do all these things almost as you would if you were trying to sell your CD. You'll be on the street giving out your CD. You're on the street selling your book, trying to get people to support you. Why should I support you? Tell something about you. You have to be interesting and tell your story and sell yourself the way that you would expect someone to sell you. Because people want you to support them and want you to believe in them, but they don't believe in themselves enough to go forward. So I'll always say, understand your competition, what you're competing against. If someone is your favorite author, okay, now your book whatever you put out has to be at that level, if not at that level or higher. If you're trying to be an actor, okay, you got to make sure that you work on your craft so you can be the best that you can be in that position. You're trying to be a lawyer, you simply have to do the work. You can't say I want to be a lawyer, but then don't go to law school, or then don't look up the cases that people have done to one person have either got themselves out of prison by being their own lawyer. So it's certain things you just have to do the research. You constantly have to research. The more knowledge you have, the more potential you have, the more growth you have, the more confidence you have. When you're able to walk in a room and hold your own, when people look at you already judging you like, oh, this person don't know such and such, but when you come like this with it, they got to respect it. And so I always tell people, I said, align yourself with people that are smarter than you, wealthier than you, that have, just more knowledge, because what's the point of having 5 people that have the same amount of knowledge, same amount of money? Like there's no growth in the group. You want to have someone who's higher than you, so that you not necessarily have to compete with them, but now you have something to base yourself off of, and you have someone that's giving you knowledge and teaching you the ropes and how to get to the next level. And
not be the oddball in the group.
Yes.
You want to be able to contribute.
Absolutely.
And continue to grow.
And you want to help people. I feel like the Black Godfather is a great documentary to watch if people haven't watched it.
Oh man,
so amazing.
Yes.
I feel like that's how I am with Clarence Avon. I'm about helping people, not necessarily if it even doesn't benefit me. I had to learn that a long time ago. God spoke to me and was like, it's not about you. I'm on the red carpet. I'm like, yeah, it's about me. It's like, it's not about you. It's about what you can do for other people, how you can be a blessing. Right. So I get more so now it makes sense to me why I get more gratification when I do for others than doing for myself.
That's right. That's right. Now, if since COVID, how has the industry changed? Because you're an actor, but you're a business as well. So in that industry, you guys have had to pivot to be able to move around and do what you guys need to do. How has the industry changed? And do you think that change is going to remain past the COVID?
Well, the change for me, definitely, because I was on the producer side of things when, COVID kind of, took over. I was working on helping getting films funded and projects greenlit and stuff like that. And so when that happened, it kind of shifted that whole momentum to just where people are just scared to invest or scared to do anything just because not knowing what the market is going to look like afterwards. So it definitely changed. As an actor, it changed auditions, happening. Unless you were a voiceover actor, it didn't change too much for you because voiceover is still going on, but auditions weren't happening. If they were self-tapes audition. And now it's kind of like where we don't even know, like things have started back, but most of the reality stuff has started before the scripted stuff, because you gotta go through all these different protocols where now if your budget, you have to add 20% more to your budget for the COVID precautions that you have to take now. And you have to get people tested. You have to have people wearing masks, secluded. A lot of things have changed. So the normal things we used to have on set, when you'll see large groups of people, it's not going to happen anymore on shows. They're even cutting back on co-star roles, big scenes. So there's not going to be a lot of extras. So it's going to change a lot. It's going to shift a lot of things to the left, and people are not going to be able to make the money they used to make who were doing those type of roles or background actors. So it's changed a lot. And I think that's going to be a while before it even gets back to normal. I think it's going to be the protocol for right now, definitely into next year.
It's going to be interesting to see the changes that are being made, or even the possible changes that are being made, and not only in the movie industry, but just in general.
Right.
Like if I was to when I go back to my job, how is it going to be changed? How are they going to stagnate the people coming and going? So the normal is no longer relevant. We're going to have a new normal.
Right.
It's an adjustment period. It's something that we're going to have to adjust and be mindful that the adjustment needs to be made.
Absolutely.
And it happens, everything happens for a reason. So the adjustment is a necessity to position everybody. So many people are being in position right now, just within COVID. You're positioning, even if you are elevating yourself. Say you were an actor and you're like, no, I think I can do the producer thing.
Right.
I mean, you DJ Melly Mel. Tell me how that came about.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely this was a quiet time for us all. This was a time to kind of sit back, reflect on things that we had, things we took advantage of, and things we didn't appreciate. And I think that it will make us better individuals from it. And then on top of that, with the whole Black movement, Black Lives Matter situation, that we had we had no distractions when we saw what happened to George Floyd. We had no distractions when we see the group of people coming together, all cultures, all races coming together. Like this is the biggest march we've ever had in years, ever seen. So it was a beautiful thing to see, where when you turn on your TV, all you see on the news is what's going on. You're not watching sports. You're not watching anything that's going to distract you from what's happening. And so the 2020, people were looking for the 2020 to be the clearer vision, to be this is my year about all these things. And it was a clear vision. It was a clear vision to see what's been happening for so many years that people continue to overlook, that now it's all of a sudden you see all these companies saying Black Lives Matter. Exactly. Black Lives have been matter. And we said this years ago. We said this for the past year, every year. And now it's everyone's, you see white have other races have now come to realize, okay, this is enough. Seeing what happened to George Floyd, that was enough. So now you're putting your money behind causes. You're putting your your business at risk for behind causes because you see Amazon, Jeff Bezos, people are mad about him putting Black Lives Matter in their company's memo or whatever it's called. Like you see all this support for us, and it's a beautiful thing. And you see people are getting fired because of racist comments they've made. And I for me, sometimes I always think like sometimes things are going overboard. When it comes to certain things like that, people getting fired because of things they may have tweeted 3-4 years ago. Because we've all made mistakes. I'm always talking about judging a person on how they are right now. You only can judge a person on what they're doing right now. I can't judge you on what you did 5 years ago, what you said 5 years ago. I'm only trying to judge you on that. And I really don't like judging people because when I judge people, I'm almost saying that I'm perfect. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that I have the right to judge you because of something you said or something you've done when I don't have a personal relationship with you.
Right.
I can only judge you off of something you've done to me. If you called me out my name or whatever, then I'm judging you off my personal experience. I cannot judge you off of what you're saying. Even if you're saying something on TV, I still can't judge you off of that because I still don't know who you are when we were behind closed doors. You may be putting on a show. I just may be like, oh, he's a showmanship, or she's a show person that she's putting on a show. But that person may be the sweetest person in the world, but they're just putting on a show for the world. So I try to not judge people because I understand I'm also saying giving you permission to judge me because I'm not perfect. So I don't want to be judged. So I don't want to judge anybody because I know that I've not been perfect either. So for me, it's like this COVID-19 situation has definitely made me very thankful, and it's put us all at pause. It's giving people a chance to spend time with their family. Some people who I haven't seen my sons in months because of this. I normally would go to see them all the time. I don't know when I'm gonna see them, but we try to figure out ways to make it work through virtual Zoom, through all the other platforms, FaceTime, all these things we try to do because we know that we took these things for granted. Or now I'm appreciative of the trip that I took to Jamaica last November, where it's like, man, I don't know the next time I'm going to be able to go overseas anytime soon. So I appreciate that. But those memories have now been embedded in my head where I'm appreciative of everything.
Absolutely. And it's funny because I'm glad that you spoke on that because Rodney Perry did a live. I think Mr. Perry did the live maybe like a week or so ago. But he talked about how he had to learn how to check himself in some of the things that he was doing. I think right now we are learning how to check ourselves. Before we would wait for the doctor to tell us what it was. Now we telling the doctor what it is. It's like, listen, everybody's scared to go to the doctor. Don't act like y'all ain't scared like everybody else. They scared to go to the doctor, because they don't know what kind of treatment they're going to get there. They don't know, if they're going to get something worse than what they came in with. So I saw this thing on TikTok where the lady was in labor and she was like, she called the hospital. They had a list of things for her to do. She was like, okay. So she then hangs up the phone and she tells her husband, she was like, false alarm, no worries. And then she's all Googling how to have the baby from home. Like, that is our mindset. That's where we are. But so many people, we are paying attention.
Absolutely.
When we're not paying attention, how to take care of our bodies, how to heal ourselves, what should we eat, what should we not be eating, how to not knowing you don't have to go to the gym to do these things. You don't have to go to church to praise. So there's a pivot all across the board on how to do things differently.
Right. Absolutely.
I want to also add, Melvin, that you said that, we're all on pause and we have no distractions to take away from what's going on in our communities today. And I think that I'm a sports fanatic, so I know some people are looking for sports, but there are some of the players that play the sports that don't necessarily want to play because they don't want to be a distraction to what's going on. They want the focus to still be on those things that are important and not on what they're doing. So how do you feel about that? I mean, I'm all for sports, but I do understand well, some people are hesitant because they don't want to take away. This is a pivotal moment in our history. I mean, 19 countries are out talking about Black Lives Matter. We've never had that.
Right.
In all walks of races.
Absolutely. No, I definitely understand that their point of view of it, but I'm looking at it, and standpoint is that you have a platform to use, so you can, like, now they're allowing the players to change their name, have their names on, instead of saying their names on the back, it can say "I Can't Breathe" or "Black Lives Matter" or whatever things. Like, everybody's getting involved, NFL, NBA, like, because what happened before is when these things were going on. People had sports and everything to watch, like I said, to watch. But I feel like now that it's because in this time period, we've had time from the George Floyd situation until now, until whenever sports starts back, to keep it going. To now, people are getting involved. So now, when the NBA comes back, we now get to see how the NBA handles it. So now we have a bird's eye view of how you handle it, how you let your players protests or whatever it may be. Down, they even talking about maybe not having a national anthem because they understand that the national anthem doesn't represent us or doesn't mean the same thing for us as it means for anybody else, because it was created by a slave owner, a former slave owner, and the words in it don't apply to us. You know, we wasn't free when we came into this country. We were taken and held captive. So we're able to see, like, how the players are able to still use their voice, because now you when you get to see somebody all the time, you have no choice but to see, you know, when they talk about in interviews, they're going to talk about this in interviews. So it's going to be more than just social media. So people are not going to be able to run from them. There's no way around it. So you're going to constantly, whether it's the news, whether it's sports, it's going to, as you see, it's even NASCAR, you know, where the guy, Bubba, I forgot his last name, has a Black Lives Matter on his car. And you see when they thought that he was a victim of a hate crime, how all of them walked with them to the starting line. So we are not going to be distracted, even though sports are happening. I'm not going to be distracted. I can't speak for everybody else, but I feel like we won't be distracted because they'll continue to remind us to not be distracted. So they got to make sure that we're not distracted when football and NBA starts, to not be distracted.
And I just want to say this real quick. Sorry, T. I'm a Niners fan. And when Kaepernick was taking the knee,
man,
it was a whole issue. And it came from just really not understanding really why he was taking the knee.
But it came from the president, too. It came from the president making a big deal about it. And they already explained that it wasn't about the flag. It was said so many times that it wasn't about the flag. Now they get it. Oh, you know what? It never was about the flag. That's what he was trying to tell you. We wasn't kneeling because we were like, oh, we don't want to stand for the flag. Because who says that we have to stand for the flag? Right. Where's there a rule book that says, you know what? I have to stand for the flag. This is just something that we've been doing. And they were even saying that the Pledge of Allegiance started. It started from something they I forgot, it was like at a game or something where they originally started, and that's when they just started doing it. It wasn't nothing that said that we gotta sing the national anthem before each game. That was just something that was a trial they did, and they stuck with it. But people would make something more than what it is when it doesn't apply to them. And even when it came to even Drew Brees speaking about it, and he was like, I would never, change my mind about, a person not standing for the flag. What? Like,
but you know something? It's all about perspective. I'm an Army brat, so my dad served his whole life in the Army.
Right.
And the soldiers said it's not about the flag. We go to war, we go to fight, so that they have that right.
Absolutely.
To kneel,
And so it was a person that told we're not having to kneel, because he was sitting there first, and he said that's more disrespectful than kneeling. He's like, no, kneeling is how we pay for when we someone's grave, we're kneeling, we're paying tribute to saluting them.
Right. It was never about the flag, but if you take the time to understand, then that whole issue would not have happened.
That's the key. People didn't take the time to understand. They didn't want to understand. That's why it was a black man doing it. If it was a white man doing it,
it would have been all right.
Been different. Oh, you know what? Bob is right. We'll God dang it. We will kneel. We will kneel. Now everybody's kneeling. It's like you telling somebody my foot, like you telling your doctor, my foot hurt, doctor. And he trying to tell you, no, your foot don't hurt, your elbow hurt. You're like, no, I'm telling you my foot hurts. And then finally you show me your foot. And you show him how bad it's been all the 3 years. You didn't tell me it's your foot hurt. Like, you know what? It was your foot this whole time. Now we gotta chop it off. I've been telling you for 3 years it was my foot.
Now let me
Oh man, we so appreciate you coming to kick it with us here in the chat room. We appreciate all that you bring to the art of acting, what you bring to the screen, your gifts, your wisdom. We want you to just keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
We're so super proud of you. We're super proud of your wife. Mm-hmm. You guys are being an example to show what it looks like and what it should look like. And we appreciate that.
And it's important. I think that the thing is always important. I mean, I had to learn this a while ago because sometimes you're always trying to please people and please the industry. Like I'm always was that guy that, not say always, but sometimes I became that guy who was like, oh, I don't want people not to like me. Or I don't want people to do, X, Y, Z. And it was just like, you can't get everyone to like you. And there's going to be some people that don't like you just because that you work harder than them or whatever it may be. And understanding that at the end of the day, as long as I'm pleasing God, my job is done. And that took a long time to get to that point. And I contribute my wife for helping me to that because it's always about trying to seem like I'm busy, trying to see like I'm doing all these things. And sometimes it's okay to not be busy at all. People like, what you working on? Me.
To be able to say it, Melvin, to be able to say it is even more key. To be able to say what you're saying.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
We have told everybody they need to go watch everything that you're in so that you can
win. Thank you. I just wanted to pop in. I literally just got home, so I heard him talking about himself, and so I wanted to just say yes to everything that he's saying.
I love it. We so appreciate you guys. We want you to shout out all of your social media, what you got going on the big screen where everybody should be looking for, any productions you have that we could be looking for, so we know how to support you.
No, absolutely. Definitely. If you haven't got the book, get the book Adventures of Jimmy the Fly. Written by me and my wife. And make sure you go and support my wife. She's on an Emmy nomination ballot to hopefully be nominated for Emmy for Manhunt, Daily Dream.
No, hopefully. New word. No.
Well, she's already nominated. Look, she's already nominated. So she's two-time nominated.
Win.
That's why she gonna win.
Well, I'll let y'all say that. That's just not, I don't be in my Kanye right now. I'm just being very graceful. We have no control over that. It's all God. If God wants her to be nominated, wants her to win, that's all him. All I always tell people, all I can say is that I can say I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna do my best. That I can say. I can't say I'm gonna win. I'm gonna be nominated. I can't. Because then if I don't, I'm just like, well, I said it. You speak it and you shall receive it. It doesn't really work that way.
But that makes it a team effort. It takes a village. So in order for you to win, in order for her to win, that means that we have to show up in the process. And we have to show out when we're showing up to make sure that they see us like that. They see us like, her right there. Yeah, right. Her right there.
and she's well deserving of everything, man. She's a hard worker, and like I said, she's not the type of person that promotes herself. Like that's my job. That's who I am. And so, I'm always proud of her and just how hard she works at her craft. And I get to see, her being as an actor preparing for an audition, preparing for a role, and it makes me elevate my game to another level. Which is like, man, if I'm not taking it as serious as she is, then I don't need to do it. And so it's always that's where the friendly competition comes from, with me just trying to be on a level to where if we ever do a project together, like I'm making sure I hold my own show and we just be like, man, they're like, man, you shouldn't have done that movie with the wife. She was great, but she was terrible.
You want to make sure, we gonna do this? Oh no,
right.
I have to be on point. I'm about to be on point. I can stand with her. Yeah. Y'all ain't got to worry. I got this.
Right.
We so appreciate you, Melvin. We appreciate both of you. Thank you for coming on Let's Chat. And you guys have a great night.
You too. Be blessed.
Holiday.
Thank you, guys. Happy 4th of July. Be safe.
You too.
We just shoot imaginary fireworks in our house. We get like little things in the background. They shoot fireworks over my spot all the time. I'm getting tired of them because they're not shooting just fireworks. They're shooting like bottle rockets and M80s. It's ridiculous. At the beginning, I thought it was gunshots. When I first started hearing him in the years ago, I was like,
too much.
Fireworks.
I know, like for 2 weeks now, it's been
every night, nonstop.
Takes away the fun of the 4th.
Yeah, I'm
good.
good.
And I heard fireworks the other night, and I'm like, what? Juneteenth is over, 4th of July ain't here again. What we got the fireworks for? What we doing?
COVID-19 got everybody bored.
At 11 o'clock at night. Absolutely. Well, we so appreciate you.
Thank you.
We will see you soon. We're going to make sure that we drop the link for your book as well, so that everybody can go out and be able to get that for their kids. Thank you so very much.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate y'all.
Be blessed.
Thanks again, Melvin.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That was awesome, T.
It was. It's so we had a great show tonight. All 3 guests were on point, Leash.
Absolutely. Hey, Gibbs. Thank y'all for rocking with us. We will see you guys on next Thursday. Next Thursday, we have y'all watch the Oval. Listen, we got Travis Cure up in this thing on next week. Yes.
Our invisible man.
Yes. The Cure. Yep, y'all heard me correctly. The Cure is going to be here. That's our Superman. He wants to be listen, Marvel. Travis Cure wants to be a superhero. We need y'all to make that happen. Get him. Right now. We need him to get this dream role of his. But he's going to be in. We're going to have Trav in here, his manager, and a fabulous author and businesswoman, Christy Lux, is going to be in here. She is the owner of the WUBA. Exciting things that she is putting on and displaying for us. Let me tell y'all, she's dope in real life.
She is. And
she's dope in real life. Person. Absolutely. And we also have Mikey J. He's going to be in here talking about his new music, new projects. And then next Friday, we're going to be back in the chat room, radio version. And we're going to have the BAM Tour takeover. Black Authors Matter authors will be in the chat room. And we're going to talk just about books, life, love. Y'all know how we do. We do it the royal way. I'm Miss Lissha. You know, I got my girl, Miss Toni. And we will see you guys next week.
Enjoy your weekend. Bye.
Oh, don't forget, Let's Chat can now be seen, well, as of Friday, starting next Friday. You will be able to see all of our replays on Ebony TV, and that's on www.tmbtc.com. You'll be able to see all of our replays for Let's Chat Live, not only on our YouTube channel, but on that platform as well. So we appreciate you guys supporting us, looking out for us, and we will see y'all soon.
Good night.